Liverpool have just beaten Manchester United 3-0 away from home on their final game of the pre-season US tour. And boy, is there a lot to unpack, and boy, is there a lot of evolution, and boy, are we learning a lot about this 𝙈𝙤𝙣𝙘𝙧 team, how to read them, what the players are doing within that system, what it might be like when other people are coming back. There is so much exciting stuff going on at Liverpool right now, and there's a lot of exciting stuff going on the channel as well. We streamed this evening with 500, 600 people watching at any one time. We're having a good time, so if you want to hit the subscribe button, do it down there. Liverpool, of course, came away with a very positive result and absolutely slotted Manchester United this evening. What he's been talking about all the way through pre-season, that style of control, that style of intensity, the fact that he can change so many players in and out and still continue to play a consistent style of play, is really satisfying to watch. And I know there are also cheap points to score here against Manchester United. A lot of people talking about how much time Erik ten Hag has had with this team and how much longer he's had to coach this side and make relationships with players. Of course, we know that the setup at Liverpool has been much more consistent than that at Manchester United. And this in itself is just a pre-season. We don't know how intense Manchester United were meant to press. We don't know how intense they were meant to play. We don't know what the rotations were meant to be like, all these kind of things. So taking direct, Liverpool are going to be better than Manchester United conclusions this season is a bit reductive of any one of these systems. But what I would say is we're watching that Liverpool, first of all, do have consistency in the way that they're setting up, do have some consistency in the way that the team feel and look and play, where you would expect Manchester United to have a bit more of that, to have a bit more aggression, to have a bit more all these kind of things. But maybe United are just keeping their powder dry. So don't take too much from the result, but take a bit from the style of play. Take a bit from what we're seeing from individual players, the way that they're reacting to Slot and the Klopp transition, the way that they're reacting overall to the situation that they find themselves in. And of course, a 3-0 win is very satisfying. Chalk one of those off, because I think in the Premier League, you probably would have seen it ruled out for offside. And I'm talking about the 𝙈𝙤𝙣𝙧𝙦 goal, where it was like a lovely bit of back, forth, cut into the box, back, forth, get a Jota shot. 𝙈𝙤𝙧𝙧 puts the rebound in. One of those, I think, would have been ruled out for offside in the Premier League. Having said that, still a lovely move and still the kind of thing you want to see Liverpool putting together. But the other goals, quality goals for Liverpool. And it's lovely to see Liverpool still working on this new system and getting so much joy from it early on. Having said that, I also think you have to caveat it the other way, right? Managers don't yet know how to counteract some of this slot system, whereas other teams will have played a more progressed system, and Slot will have been able to do a bit more analysis of what other teams will have laid out there. So it's swings and roundabouts really in pre-season. Having said that, some really great individual performances that again are impressing me, and I just wanted to pick a couple of individuals out. First of all, let's go with Mo Salah. Why is Mo Salah one of the best players in the world? Not only because of what our ideas of him in a Klopp system were, but also because clearly he is an adaptable, intelligent, still very physically adept, still very technically adept player who can make his way into a number of different positions and excel in those areas. And we wondered why Liverpool was so eager to keep hold of Mo Salah. Obviously, I was one of those people who was exploring both sides. Would you let Salah go to Saudi or would you keep him? And I was kind of trying to weigh up that decision that Liverpool have to make in pre-season and beyond. What is it that makes him so good? Well, it's a lot of his judgments. It's a lot of the way he reads the game. It's a lot of his interplay with those other guys. How well he has slotted into this slot system. So some of his professionalism, personality, leadership skills around all of those things. That's huge for Liverpool in pre-season. Huge for consistency. Huge for showing young players when they're coming into this pre-season squad the way that they need to perform, the level they need to get themselves to in pre-season. All these kind of things I think are really important for the culture of the club. And that's why Manchester United have fallen behind in recent years, creating a culture. Not because Erik ten Hag isn't a good coach, not because the players are terrible people, but because from the very top down, this club has had issues. And there is a lot of rebuilding to do there. They might rebuild very quickly. They are in the process of rebuilding now. So again, judging those two things in contrast, I think is probably not very fruitful, but is very satisfying to watch from Liverpool's perspective. Not only that, but we're also watching Ryan Gravenberch come back. Ryan Gravenberch is a great player in the first place and was let go of at Bayern Munich because he didn't really have a position. They had players who would fall ahead of him in any one of the pecking orders. And again, you're probably going to see that when we can put him in a position where he can perform consistently, we bought him as a 6, come 8 at one point. I don't think we ever bought him as a 10. Too many players in that 10 position in the first place. Him in a double pivot is satisfying. We saw Liverpool kind of finishing the season like that, so I can only really assume that we were going to look at like that 2 or a 1 and a 1 kind of system that Slot kind of puts out there, where it's like sometimes 2 go deep, try and get possession, the one that gets possession, the other one sets off. There's something very satisfying about that, but also helping their centre-back, aiding the people immediately ahead of them. Gravenberch is a mobile, good passer who's very good at winning the ball back quickly. Everything Arne Slot needs. And it aids another point I want to make about this Arne Slot team, right? And I don't think they're all good points, but they're all points. When we're getting these senior players back, who are players who are bought at more expensive prices to be more senior players, and they're playing ahead of some of the youth that played in that second half, we're seeing what it is that Slot is able to do with this high caliber of player. Everyone last season was sort of going, well, where does Gravenberch really fit in? How is he going to play in this midfield? Liverpool were thinking ahead, and he wasn't really in that much analysis for a lot of people up until the point where we were like, oh yeah, remember Gravenberch? We've not seen enough of him in this Klopp system going into this Slot system. So it's really satisfying to see him in that double pivot next to Curtis Jones, someone else that we want to see a lot more from. And actually, Gravenberch was one of my men of the match, one of maybe 3 people that I thought led Liverpool really, really well. And Curtis Jones had a game where he took a few more risks, probably, I think, got a little bit sucked into the source of things to try and impose themselves on United. I know there is still a lot of contempt from this Liverpool team towards Manchester United in general, but specifically this squad of players that's assembled and the Erik ten Hag side. Obviously, he's 7-up, etc., and there's all this banter about them winning 7-0, but I still wonder whether this contempt that Liverpool have for this team and the way they feel about Manchester United affects the way they play them sometimes. And I think sometimes you can see Curtis Jones getting sucked into that just a little bit. Having said that, scored a goal, really great goal, cut back from Salah, Jones comes across, easy one in. Quite an easy one to exploit in a pre-season game, but still a goal. Put yourselves ahead, put yourselves in a more comfortable position, prove you can get the ball in the net, very satisfying. He was still good in midfield, and I think Slot sees him as part of that double pivot, probably not as one of the 2 10s ahead of it with Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai didn't play this evening, again, apparently rested because he needs to be rested, but also because there was a bit of a precaution taken there. And so we saw 𝙎𝙬𝙼𝙎 get a bit more of that facilitator, try and get the ball around the corner roll, trying to get the ball out wide, trying to facilitate those 2 guys in Carvalho and obviously ahead of him, Jota, but then Salah out wide to try and come back inside. And he did that really well, I thought. He did that with a level of assuredness that I think previously people would have gone, well, where does he fit into this Klopp team? Well, we know where he fits into this Slot side. We know there's like a floating 10 push, press, intensity role here for 𝙎𝙬𝙼𝙎, and I'm really enjoying watching it. It's great to watch him. He's not evolved. I mean, he has evolved, but I felt like this was always in him in the first place. So we're just seeing him blossom. When I say he's not evolved, clearly he's evolved as a player, but I feel you get what I'm saying when it's like that was already there. We just needed to put him in the position to thrive there. And again, when we're talking about transitioning from the old era to the new, what is it that a player like Cody Gakpo would thrive on? Out on that left wing position, or will he thrive in the striker position? We saw Jota this evening thriving in that striker position, but losing the ball a couple of times, but again, just trying to get his touch back. We're not quite sure what the intensity was, all those kind of things, but satisfying to see his hookup play, satisfying to see him getting in those positions when previously, maybe he would have been a backup player. Now we're seeing, what can Slot do with this guy? And then we're going to that back line. Kelleher, obviously another great performance, but Jaros, when he came on to replace him, very satisfying. The 2 centre-backs ahead of him, I really want to pick those guys out for a second. Good distribution again from Joel Quansah, going out wide to Bradley very regularly. I'm looking forward to seeing Trent play in this side, if he plays in this side, if he doesn't go to Madrid. That seems to be off at the moment, but let's see. He really drives forward very well. He's a driver with the ball, hooks up well with either Salah on one side of him while he's doing the underlapping, or on the other side, 𝙎𝙬𝙼𝙎, Curtis Jones, Gravenberch, depending on who's passing it back to him. He's very good at that like bounce and wall pass and like, I'm going to give and go. And that's quite satisfying to watch. Same for Tsimikas on the other side. Lots of underlapping, lots of getting into the box and being that provider, whilst the width and the pulling wide of those wingers just dragged Manchester United so wide. There was so much space on the underlap to exploit there. It's not Ange Postecoglou style, but it's certainly very satisfying to watch. There's one thing I just want to flag. I think Ibrahima Konate is a great player. I wonder if he has a spot in this Liverpool team, what side of defence it's on, if Quansah is going to continue to play, whether Liverpool might look to cash in on another centre-back and go, well, we need someone who's very left-footed, very naturally going to be an understudy to Virgil van Dijk, and when he does leave, just come into the team quite positively and just continue with where we were going. And what that does for Sepp van den Berg, Jarell Quansah, but more specifically Joe Gomez, Ibu, there are a number of centre-backs who are high-quality centre-backs, but if Liverpool look and go, what fits the system we need? Does Ibu fit? Does Gomez fit? Does Sepp fit? How can we coach? How is it we can bring these guys to the skill set we need? They're already at the level. They're high-end footballers. But how is it we can give them the skill set that we need and win with those guys? Not just play passable roles in a slot system, but play real contributing roles in this slot system. Bear in mind, Ibu is still very early back, so I'm not going to judge him on this performance. A lot of people judging him on this early performance. I don't think he deserves that. But that's my point here, is like, will Liverpool look to change a couple of personnel where they go, well, it's not really so much you, it's more what we're looking for from that position. Could Ibu be that guy? Could Gomez be that guy? Especially if there's like 45 to 50 million for any of these guys in the Premier League. Will we look to cash in? And of course, let's talk about training. Liverpool have received McAllister back. We're still yet to get the other Dutch guys back. And we are still yet to get any of those South Americans alongside McAllister back. Satisfying to see McAllister back. We've seen some of those young personalities coming through, gelling as a squad, making themselves the alphas of the team, making themselves the leaders in pre-season. Now it's time for some of those more progressed leaders to come back. It's great to see Carvalho bantering with Salah, but it's also great to see Salah being alongside one of the leaders in the team in McAllister, and those two sharing that alpha male or more leadership-y role there. I want to finish on a couple of big things here. First of all, the kit. It's not black, it's forest, nighttime forest green with the accents of those lighter greens. Lovely, love the kit, love the head to toe black, love how it looks, loves how it feels. Loved watching Liverpool playing it really. It's a really nice kit, it's really clean, it's really strong, worked well for us. And of course, the fact we beat Manchester United in our first game in it works even better for me. I really do think that we are looking at an era here where Liverpool are going to change the way they invest. We've seen them progress their academy. We've seen them trying to bring a lot of youth through. I think we are obviously going to see a lot of these guys not loaned out, but not permanently, not sold. I think we will see a lot of them loaned out though. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do with Tyler Morton. Will he stick around? Will he look to get more minutes elsewhere? A lot of questions on my live stream tonight about Fabio Carvalho and what it is that he will do for Liverpool. I'll be interested to see how he adapts his game. Will it be out on the left wing? Will it be more centrally? Are we giving him an opportunity outside of just that left wing side where we've got Gakpo, Diaz, and a number of other people who can sort of, you know, bomb in from that side, and Darwin Nunez, and, you know, Jota. Will he get enough time? Will he get enough minutes? He seems very positive. He scored a lot of goals. It's going to be interesting to see. Will Liverpool cash in? Personally, I think we will keep him in the squad. I wonder if he's told limited minutes here or maximum minutes elsewhere in the Premier League or in another top league in Europe, and come back, prove yourself when someone else is moving out of the team in Diaz and Salah, whoever it is, and you could be in that squad more permanently. Gravenberch, I'm looking forward to seeing. But then there are a number of young guys this evening. Enjoyed when Nyoni came on. I'm just going to bring up these names because it's sometimes tricky to keep up. Enjoyed when Nyoni came on. Enjoyed Tyler Morton. Enjoyed watching Bajcetic, though, again, minimal involvement, but good at winning the ball back. We kept a bit more consistency. In the Arsenal game, I didn't feel that we had that fluidity when we got those subs on. I think Slot probably noticed that. Wanted to get a few more minutes in the legs, but also wanted to get us to a position where we could have some consistency in the way we were playing. Enjoyed some of the runs from Stevenson, enjoyed Endo, supporting that youth out there, and certainly enjoyed the pace of Doak out wide, cutting in. A couple of times where I thought, oh, his brain's almost quicker than his legs can do. And I enjoyed watching Blair sort of tie up that back line and play on the shoulder of those Manchester United players. Again, Sepp Vandenberg putting another good performance, Jaros equally. Nat Phillips kind of confusing for me at the moment. Is he in the squad? Is he going to be loaned out? I suppose in pre-season, we're just maximising what we've got. And I really love what Chambers brings, but also I want to see like Bobby Clark was apparently associated with Pep Lijnders and his new side out there in Austria. What's going to happen there? Are Liverpool going to try and cash in? Just making sure I've not missed any other names here. I don't think I have, to be honest. I probably will do a more in-depth analysis / just chat about what Liverpool's pre-season looked like. But for now, that's a lot of my thoughts about this pre-season. Very solid, really satisfying to see. Even though we've not signed anyone, there is a very solid pre-season feel. Beaten everyone we needed to beat, obviously apart from Preston, in Real Betis, Arsenal, Manchester United. 3 massive names there. Big challenge now against Sevilla, followed by Las Palmas later in the afternoon. I'm looking forward to seeing how we up the intensity with still a week between. I'm looking forward to seeing how we bond further, how we get through this rest of the preseason. 2 weeks now, basically, until the season kicks off from basically, it's less than 2 weeks, it's 13 days. But we're going to see how this team evolves. So much work is going to go in. I think we're going to see a lot more evolution in the tactics and confidence of those players. Probably see a lot of people loaned out. Fabrizio Romano, a couple of other people and a couple of us were basically saying, now we've had time to assess that squad, which probably wouldn't have happened in the same way under Klopp because he would have known a bit more about the team. And now that Arne Slot has had time to work with them, work out what it is that he wants to draw out of them, what system he's going to tweak a little bit, how that bounce pass and the double pivot is really going to work, how those wides coming inside is really going to work. It's going to be interesting to see. I look forward to knowing your guys' comments. And join me on the next live stream. Probably do Sevilla live. Probably can't do Las Palmas live because that'll be behind closed doors. But I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments below. Would you like to see more live streams? What would you like to see more of? Welcome to Lawrence McKenna on LFC channel. Thank you for getting us to 15K. Very much appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you guys in a future video. Much love.